Since Avengers, I think the actual timeline is like a year or something like that. So he's been working for S.H.I.E.L.D. He's finding comfort in the modern era in terms of technology. But I think he's struggling with the way society operates. And I think when it comes to S.H.I.E.L.D., it's very cloak and dagger. It's very hush-hush. And I think their morals and values are a little more malleable than Cap would be used to. And I think in the eyes of Nick Fury, they do that for a reason. They bend the rules in order to preserve a certain sense of security. And there's a great line in the movie, actually, where Sam Jackson and Nick Fury says, listen, S.H.I.E.L.D. takes the world as it is, not as we'd like it to be. And there's bumps for Cap. This is a tough thing for him to process, because I think he comes from a place of honesty and values, and people's civil liberties come first. And infringing upon those to give them safety, it's not worth it. And I think he's just questioning where he fits.
We're going to neutralize a lot of threats before they even happen.
Thought the punishment usually came after the crime.
I guess the fact that Cap's finally in this century and he's kind of owning the fact that he's in a new world, and considering he's in D.C. at the S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters now, he's finding out more and more about what's going on, and Nick finally unveils to him what the whole Avengers initiative was in terms of getting those guys and getting the weapons that will keep us safe from not just the otherworldly threat, but things that are happening on the planet. But Cap's idea of freedom is not having guns aimed at the people that are supposed to be free also.
Enter room secure. I think she's probably jaded enough at this point, or maybe she was just born that way. You know, where she doesn't go buy into that black and white kind of cut and dry thing. I mean, let's not forget she's a mercenary. She's a Russian spy. She's a mercenary, and is a sort of ends up as this reluctant superhero. But it's just by a kind of series of events and what ends up being kind of most convenient to her survival, that she ends up working for S.H.I.E.L.D. And so she does the work that she's tasked to do, and she's good at it, and she's sort of unquestioning. And it isn't until the end of this film, after this series of events, where she starts to have her own like identity crisis.
Hey Cap, how do we know the good guys from the bad guys? If they're shooting at you, they're bad.
His knowledge of S.H.I.E.L.D. is minute. He has no input or any history with S.H.I.E.L.D. at all. I'm sure he's heard of S.H.I.E.L.D. through the military and the programs that they run. He and Nick Fury have a history, which is a good one. The program that he was in was kind of a S.H.I.E.L.D.-based program, the Falcon program, but he never really worked directly for S.H.I.E.L.D.
I'm here to ask a favor. I want you to call for a vote. Project Insight has to be delayed.
Nick, it's not a favor, that's a subcommittee hearing, a long one.
Could be nothing, probably is nothing. I just need time to make sure it's nothing. It's kind of like the government, I guess, that we have now, that there are some relics there who were part of some operations in some countries that we had an effect on their politics and how they work, and he's still there. He's one of the last bastions of that, and he and Nick Fury share a history in terms of them being not just contemporaries but also co-conspirators in several different things. So there's a relationship between those guys that's very different from Nick's and Cap's even, in terms of who they are and what they've been through and how they perceive the world.